Let's go to page 295. Number 1, you have 9 plus 2i plus 1 minus 7i. Okay, so this is addition, so you don't have to do extra step of changing the signs. So when you add, you have to add the real part with the real part, so it would be 10. The imaginary part with the imaginary part should be minus 5i, and that's it. Okay, number 3, you have 5 minus 7i minus 8 plus 2i. Okay, you have to be careful because it's subtraction. So first you have to do is you have to distribute to get the signs correct. Okay, so let's get rid of parentheses. So 5 minus 7i. So this will give you minus 8. This will give you minus 2i. So again, if it's addition, you can just add. But it's a subtraction, you have to be extremely careful. You want to go and change the sign. So now you can go and add the corresponding part. The real part will give you minus 3. And the imaginary part will give you minus 9i. Okay, number 5, you have 3 times negative 2 plus I minus 4 times 3 minus 2i. Okay, so first you have to distribute. So this time so will give you minus 6. This time so will give you plus 3i. So you have to distribute to get rid of all the parentheses. So this multiply, you get minus 12. This multiply, so this will be plus 8i. Okay, then after that, go and combine the like terms. So this will be minus 18. And this one would be plus 11i. Okay. Okay, next one. Number 7, you have I times 3 plus 4i. So that's going to distribute. So this would be 3i. This would be plus 4i squared. Now 4i squared is negative, so this becomes 3i minus 4. And you always want to put in the a plus bi form, so put the real part first and then the imaginary part. Okay, next one, number 9. You have negative 4i times negative 2 plus I. Okay, so that's going to distribute. So when you multiply, when you have a lot of parts, what you do the sign, the integer, and then alphabet or whatever you have to do. So this will give you positive. This will give you 8 and I. So when you multiply, negative times positive is negative. The number 4 times 1 is 4. I times I is negative 1, so this becomes plus 4. Okay? Again, go and put in the a plus bi form. Always put your real part in the front, imaginary part in the back. Okay, okay, next one. Okay, number 11, you have 3 minus I, 3 plus I. So these are conjugates, so you have to know how to multiply the conjugates. So when you multiply the conjugate, you just multiply the corresponding part. So 3 times 3 would be 9. Negative times positive would be minus. I times I is negative 1, so this becomes plus 1. Okay, and so this is equal to 10. And again, notice when you have conjugate, the I would be gone, right? So keep that in mind. So to get rid of the I, you have to multiply conjugates. Okay, okay, number 13. You have 3 plus 7i times 3 minus 7i. So again, this is a conjugate again. So let's go and multiply. So 3 times 3 is 9. Plus times minus is minus. 7 times 7 is 49. Okay. I times I is negative 1. So I times I is negative 1. So it becomes plus 49. And now you can go and add, combine the like terms, you get 58. Okay, number 15, you have negative 4 plus I times a plus 5i. Okay, so that's going to distribute, so multiply. So you get negative 32, multiply. Okay, so you get negative 20i. I can just use this to multiply. When you're done with the first one, you go to the next one. Okay, so you multiply, so you get plus 8i, and you multiply. So this is plus 5i squared. So 5, so plus positive times positive give you positive. 1 times 5 give you 5. Now I times I is negative 1, so this becomes minus 5. Okay, so make sure you do that. Okay, now let's go and combine the like terms. So it'll be minus 37, and this two will give you minus 12i. And again, when you combine the terms, you only can combine the real part with the real part, imaginary part with the imaginary part. Number 17, you have negative 2 plus 5i times 1 plus 3i. Okay, so you can go and distribute, use your for your method. So this would be minus 2. This times that will give you minus 6i. Okay, so again, use the first term, you multiply. When you're done, you go to the next one. So you multiply, so it would be plus 5i. And this would be plus 15. Now I times I is negative 1. So this instead of plus 15, 15 times negative 1 will give you negative 15. Okay, so this becomes minus. Okay, combine the like terms. And this one would be minus 1i. Okay, number 19. You have 4 plus square root of 5i. Again, notice I put I in the back, so you always want to do that. You got 4 minus square root of 5i. Okay, so this is the conjugate. So you multiply conjugate, the O and the I will cancel out. So all you have to do is do the F and L. So multiply, so 4 times 4 is 16. Plus times minus is minus. Square root of 5 times square root of 5 is 5. I times I is negative 1, so it becomes plus 5. Right? So again, 5 times negative 1 will give you, now negative 5 times negative 1 will give you positive 5. And so this is equal to 21. Okay, number 21, you have 2 minus 4i squared. Okay, when you have perfect square, you have to square every term, every part, and then you have to have the middle term. Okay, so this one you square, you get 4. This one, when you square, you get plus, right? Negative square give you plus. 4 square will give you 16. And again, I'm drawing the arrows so you can follow what I'm doing. Okay, you don't have to draw the arrows. Okay? Now, I times I is negative 1. Okay, so okay, let's go and just do negative 1. Okay, in the middle term, the sign is minus. The number is 2 times 2 is 4, times 4 is 16, and I. Okay. Okay, now this is, so now we can, let's go and do one more step. So you got 4 minus 16i, this becomes minus 16. Okay, and you combine the like terms, so you got negative 12 minus 16i. Okay, number 23. You have negative 1 plus square root of 3i squared. Okay, so again, it's a perfect square, so that's going to square this, so I get 1. And I square this, I get plus. I square this, I get 3. And I square that, I get negative 1. Now make sure you put a parentheses. The middle term, the sign is, okay, there's going to be a negative over here. So negative times positive will give you a negative. The number will be 2, and you have the square root of 3 and the I. Okay? Okay, so that's going to multiply this out. So you got 1 minus 2 square root of 3, I minus 3. Combine the like terms. So you got negative 2 minus 2 square root of 3i. Okay. Again, I always put the I in the back, so put in the standard form. Okay, number 25, I had 3 plus 2i squared. I got 3 minus 2i square. Now notice this is a conjugate. So instead of square these, you can do that, but it's more complicated. So I'm going to do is I'm going to write it out this way. Because again, whenever you see the conjugate, always go for the conjugate. So you got 3 plus 2i, 3 minus 2i, 3 plus 2i, 3 minus 2i. Okay, so again, I split this into this, I split this into this. So I'm going to multiply this first. Again, you only can multiply 2 things at a time, right? So when I multiply this, I get 9 minus 4, and so again, 3 times 3 is 9, plus times minus is minus, 2 times 2 is 4, I times I is -1, so this becomes plus, okay? Now this set, because these two are identical, so you just go 9 plus 4, right? And so this will equal to 13 times 13, so equal to 169. Okay, so again, when you multiply conjugate, it's much, much quicker. Okay, number 27. Okay, you got square root of 2 minus square root of -5 times square root of 2 plus square root of -5. Okay, now you have negative inside the square root, so before you do anything, make sure you take care of the negative. So you got square root of 2 minus square root of 5i. Again, square root of negative is I, so take care of that before you do anything else. Okay, so you can take care of that into this. So take care of the negative inside the square into I. So now you're ready to multiply. Again, this is a conjugate. Okay, so conjugates, you can multiply corresponding parts. So square root of 2 times square root of 2 is 2. Negative times positive is negative. Square root of 5 times square root of 5 is 5. I times I is -1, so this becomes plus 5. And so this is equal to 7. Okay, number 29. Okay, you have 5 over 3 plus 4i. Okay, so now you have I in the denominator, which is not allowed. So to get rid of that, there are 2 terms, so you need to multiply by 2 terms. So you have to multiply by conjugate, right? Again, to get rid of I, you have to have a conjugate. Notice over here, okay, see that? When you multiply conjugate, there's no more I. So to get rid of I, you have to multiply by conjugate. Okay, so you need to get that. Okay, when you have a conjugate, okay, you always do the bottom first. Don't do the top yet. Okay, leave the top blank for now. So that's going to multiply, because a lot of time you can cancel. Because if you multiply on the top, you're going to get in the mess and you're going to get stuck. Or you have to waste time to factor it again. Okay, so don't multiply the top yet. Just wait. Okay, because a lot of time you can cancel out. Okay, so always do the bottom. So 3 times 3 is 9. Plus times minus is minus. 4 times 4 is 16. I times I is -1, so this becomes plus. Okay, so you can take care of the bottom first. So this will give you 25. And notice there's a 5 over here, and there's a 25, so you can cancel. So that means do not multiply the top. Okay, so don't multiply the top. Leave it alone for now. Okay, again, do not multiply the top, because you're going to get into a mess, or you're going to waste time. Because this can cancel, so you can cancel. Divide by 5, you get 1. Divide by 5, you get 5. And so that's it. So you're going to split up into a plus bi form. So you're going to get 3 over 5 minus 4 over 5i. Okay. So if you multiply in the beginning, you're going to end up with a mess. You're going to get stuck, or you have to waste time to factor it again to cancel. Okay. So again, when you have this kind of situation, always do the bottom to check, see if you can cancel before you multiply out the top. Okay, number 31, you have 2 over 3 minus I. Okay, so again, to get rid of the I, you have to multiply by conjugate. So whatever you multiply on the bottom, you have to multiply on the top. Okay, so that's going to do the bottom. So 3 times 3 is 9. Negative times positive is negative. I times I is -1, so this becomes plus 1. Okay, again, always do the bottom before you worry about the top. So this is going to be a 10. So notice there's a 2 and there's a 10, so you can cancel. That means do not multiply the top. Okay, so leave the top alone. Okay, it means because you can cancel. So go and cancel, you get 1 and 5. So you're going to end up with 3 over 5 plus 1 over 5i. Again, make sure your I is kind of big, so it's outside by itself. Okay, number 33. You have negative 1 minus 2i, and you got negative 1 plus 2i. Again, don't worry about the top. Okay, don't worry about the top. Just look at the bottom. So you need to multiply by the conjugate. So you need to get negative 1 minus 2i. Okay. So even though there's a negative 1 minus 2i, this is not because of that. This had nothing to do with that. Okay. Again, always don't worry about what's on the top. Just focus on this, and you get your conjugate. Okay, so now let's go multiply the bottom. So negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. Plus times minus is minus. 2 times 2 is 4. I times I is negative 1, so this becomes plus 4. So 1 plus 4 will give you 5. And there's nothing on top to cancel out the 5. So let's go and multiply out. Okay, again, so always check. If you can cancel, do not multiply out. If there's nothing to cancel, then just go and multiply. Okay, since there's nothing to cancel out the 5, so we can go and multiply out the top. So use your for your method. So use this one times that, give me 1. This times that, give me plus 2i. Okay, so I'm done with the first one, so I go to the next one. So this times that will give me plus 2i. And this times that, now I have to be careful now, right? So negative times negative is positive. 2 times 2 is 4. I times I is negative 1. So 4 times negative 1 will give me negative 4. Okay. Okay, go and combine the like terms. So this will give me negative 3, and this will give me plus 4i. Okay, and again, write your answer in the a plus bi form. Should be negative 3 over 5 plus 4 over 5i. Again, make sure I is kind of big and it's outside by itself. Okay. Okay, next one. Okay, number 35, yeah, 6 minus square root of 2i over 6 plus square root of 2i. Again, notice I put I in the back. Okay, again, when you try to get rid of the I or the square root in the bottom, don't look at the top, just look on the bottom. So you need to multiply by the conjugate. So you need to get 6 minus square root of 2i. So on the top, you're going to need to have the same thing. Okay? And again, it just happened to be the same, but not always. Okay? You just look at the bottom to get what you need. Okay, let's do the bottom first. So 6 times 6 is 36. Plus times minus is minus. Square root of 2 times square root of 2 is 2. I times I is negative 1, so this becomes plus. Okay? Again, negative 2 times negative 1 becomes plus 2. Okay? And this will give you 38. Again, on the top, that's nothing by itself to cancel with the 38, so you can just go and distribute. So use your for your method. So this times that will give me 36. This times that will give me minus 6 square root of 2i. So I'm done with this one, so I'm going to the next one. Okay, so this multiply, I get negative. So again, sign, number, and whatever after that, square root of 2 or the I. Okay. Now for this one, so again, I use this one times, right? Then this one multiply. Now for this one over here, negative times negative will become plus. Square root of 2 times square root of 2 is 2. I times I is negative 1. So negative 1 times 2 will give me negative 2. Okay. Okay, so now I can go and combine the like terms. So this will give me 34. And this one, negative 6 plus negative 6 will give me negative 12. Square root of 2i. Okay. And again, put this in the standard form, a plus bi form. So you got 34 over 38 minus 12 square root of 2 over 32i. And this one you can reduce, right? So don't cancel first. Okay? Let's go and separate and we can reduce. So they can divide by 2. Okay, divide by 2, so you get 17 over 19. This also can divide by 2, so you get 6 square root of 2 over 19i.